Like they had with Barcelona in the semifinal.
But this year, it was PSG's year.
And PSG is also an example
You could feel
for the football world.
11 years. It took them 11 years.
PSG's average age is 23.5, 23.6 years old. So between 23 and 24
They
years
changed the
old.
model.
They changed the whole model. You were always looking at PSG with big stars, and now you see young stars. We cannot say they're not stars. They won the Champions League. So their average age is 23.6 years old.
Today's guest is somebody from the past. Hello, Peter. How are you?
Hello, how are you?
Last time you were here, it was what, 2 years ago?
3 years, I think.
3 years ago.
Yes.
Time flies.
Time flies.
So, Peter, when you go on your LinkedIn account, what you see is SSSM.
Superior Squad Sports
a lot of SSSs.
Yes.
Superior Squad Sports Management, a sports management company representing professional senior players across the world and managing future stars. And also you are the founder of Superior Squad International Academy.
Yeah.
Which is how we came across, our path crossed.
They crossed path when it was about youth.
Yes. So since we met last time, where is the project now? Because I think, from what I see, is that you are more and more involved with senior players, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, but that's also because our youth players are growing older. So when we started the project and I told you my projections that in 5 years' time, our young players will become the top athletes of U19 of the country, and then they go to the first team. This year we had 8 young Cypriots in the first team in different clubs, which is very good because, we want to support the young Cypriots. And from the new generation, they are all elite players now because, I don't like to say talent. From 3 years ago, we had that discussion. We say potential players.
Yes. They have a prospect.
Because talent get lost if they get big-headed, So what I did, the projection says that I will have around 20 very good players in 2026. Until now, it looks like we have between 15 and 20 players that can be representing the highest level of football in Cyprus.
Okay. Yeah, but you are very active outside Cyprus as well. Maybe your base is in Cyprus. From what I've seen, is you were born here in Limassol.
I was born here.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, not many people knows this, but my parents traveled from Lebanon back in the war. It was 1990, and they stopped here. I was born here in Limassol, and then straight they went to Sweden.
Yeah, but the reason why I said that is because your base is in Larnaca and not in Limassol, and I found it a bit strange. How come you decided to?
I am trying to live near the airport because I travel a lot.
Yeah, but we don't have long distances in Cyprus.
No. So
you're traveling all over the world. So
every week I'm on a plane.
Is it a big problem driving 1 hour to the airport?
No, it's not a big problem, but I need every minute of rest. Okay. Because lately I've been touring to scouting camps around the world. I even went to Africa, to Nigeria. A lot of talent there. There you can say talent because they are like raw. It's like a rough diamond. They just need polishing. Someone need to take them and polish them to expose them to a better football world. And the culture is different there. And Latin America, Uruguay, I have a good friend there, Pons. He's doing very well in Uruguay. He also found me a very important player, national team of Uruguay under 17. And because of him, we start to build the whole network in Uruguay. So we're spreading our wings slowly.
So you have collaborations with different scouters in different
I have
target countries?
14 countries I've created the base, Superior Squad Sports Management. But in every country, there is a director. And under that director, there are several scouters. And once a month, all of them report back to the system, which is here in Cyprus, the headquarters.
Okay. As I know, you cannot bring to Europe, very young African players.
True.
So you nurture them in Africa.
But this is the difficult. This is what many people in this sports industry want to avoid or don't have time for it, because there is no money when you nurture the player.
Yes.
But me, my philosophy and my character, I like to be part of the journey from the beginning. I like to break through when he was in grassroots to the youth football, from youth football to senior football, to his first professional contract until he retires. No problem. But I like to be part of the journey. It's more adventurous. I can do a transaction. I can sign a player now. And I do this. I'm an intermediary between many deals as well around the world and Cyprus for senior players and foreigners. Yes, I know the agent. Yes, I know the club. I connect them together. We all win together. We make a deal together. No problem. But the joy is when you are part of the adventure, when you see the trainings, when you see them grow up, because you learn a lot as well. You learn as a human being. You learn the characteristics of children. Each kid have his own characteristics. Each kid have his own charisma, based on their parents, based on their friends, their household, what affects them, what don't affect them. So it helps you also in sports psychology. So you get more near the project, and I like to do projects.
Yeah. Actually, it's very important that you said that, because a lot of scouters here on the island, they ignore that part. You need to have a squad of, 25, 27 players, 27 different characters.
Yes.
You need to just, basically, it's like a big marriage. Okay, so you need to bring all these characters to be aligned with the philosophy of the club, and a lot of time, I don't know, maybe because it's a lot of money are not invested in this, in the sense that you need to find whether they really have it up here. Maybe they have the physical and the technical.
The mental part is the most important in football.
Yes. This is something that I was always curious that you spend a lot of time and resources in youth. And I was always wondering, okay, I can understand the satisfaction going through the process with them, and when they make it, you're really happy.
Go ahead, ask straight.
You pay a lot of money for these kids.
True.
Okay, so where did you get the money in order to invest in
from the real deals, from the senior level deals? So I have a system that when we broker deals with clubs outside and even here, when they are senior players, 30% of that profit I make, I inject again on the youth system.
All right. So you reinvest that money into the youth system.
If you don't invest, you cannot make results. And people want results from one player. I chose 50 young players 8 years ago until I will have 5 extremely elite. Because you need to understand also your island here is a small country, so the percentage is lower to find player. You're not a population of 40 million or 110 million like Egypt. I went to Egypt, is 110 million. 200 plus million are in Nigeria. Those two countries combined are 300 plus million. You are here like 1 million something, and it's not everyone is involved in football. So here, the only part that is good in Cyprus, in my opinion, for my job, it's easier to spot talent because you're small. You're already filtered. Your pool is smaller than other countries. There you need to go from city to city. Here, it's from, like you said, it's small distances, 1 hour distance, 40-minute distance, 30 minutes. So it's easier to find those players. The problem is the mindset. Here, your culture is different, and you have a lot of potential players to become senior level players, professional in first division or even abroad, a lot. And you have European passports, which Africans, Latin Americans, and non-Europeans don't have it. And that's why they are always a bit late to get the deal done when they want to come to Europe. But you need that cultural push. That cultural push helps. And I mentor this to my players. And as you can see now, I have a lot of young players in the first team, 17, 18, 19. Also in the national teams, we have players playing up 1 year, up 2 years. So it's at the end of the day, it's up to the kids. If they want it or not, they need to be hungry.
This is true for any sport, not just football.
Yes.
Elite
mentality.
There is a mentality thing, is the attitude thing, is the influences, from the family, from their friends.
Their entourage. Their entourage effects.
Yes, exactly. I was recently in, this is the second year that they took place. The president of Paphos and his company is organizing this in Paphos, Total Sports. And then the acting sport director of Sevilla was there. They're using a lot of AI for their recruitment process.
We do too.
And basically, what he said is that they have about 18 scouters, full-time in collaborations, and it's impossible to really analyze 3,000 footballers, 18 scouters.
True.
So they narrow down with the AI and the parameters and the characteristics that they want to strengthen the squad. But in the end of his speech, somebody asked, I was going to ask, but somebody else asked, what about the mental part? And he was explaining they have a separate a psychology report, a detailed psychology report. And then when they want to pursue, attack a player, they usually go and have a preliminary meeting with the permission of his club. And he said this really funny story that there was this player that he had all the characteristics, somebody that they really want. And when they went to the meeting with a colleague of his, there was a whole endurance with him. I don't remember his mother, his girlfriend, friend, dog, agent. And then they said that we were looking at each other, me and my colleague. I said, we want to sign the player, not his mother, his girlfriend, and I thought it was really stupid. But sometimes you find some footballers, they're
football IQ is different.
They didn't go ahead with the signing.
No, we use AI to, like you said, we use AI. We have created our algorithm. Many clubs have their own algorithm. We have created our own algorithm based on different characteristics of each young player. It helps us to tell us if I find a player or my scouting team finds a player, it helps us to inform us where this player can fit more. Like, does this player fit the style of Italy, style of Spain, style of Portugal, or does he fit Greece, Cyprus, Eastern Europe? It helps us where to place him. After that, I don't believe AI can help because I prefer the eyes, the gut feeling, the instincts. That's where, the kid is special. And that's after you narrow it down. But AI helps you in the mass when you have a big number of players.
This is exactly what he said, that now we are able with AI to narrow it down to about 1,000 players.
Yes.
18 scouters. So they allocate these 1,000 players to the scouters. And then then they might get the second opinion from another scouter.
True.
Let's say you have 200 players each. or 100 each, and then somebody else, when they even narrow down the list, somebody else needs to go and review that, assess that player, so that they have a second opinion before they start narrowing down. But and also he said that before they were, the transfer fees were really 10 times what they are now,
Yes.
because they get some players before they were maybe getting them for 20 million euros. Now they only pay 6 million euros, 5 million
True.
euros with the same and even better.
But if you scout them and you have a good scouting team, I believe scouting is the base to find and create a player. If you scout the player in virgin markets, you save a lot of money. And I know clubs in Cyprus and around Europe, they have inherited that model, and they use their scouting. They invest more in their scouting than their transfer funds. So like you have selling clubs. You've seen in Portugal how much money they have generated in sales. They have distributed most of their players across Europe. But when they bought them for 1 million, 2 million, selling them for 20. 1 million, 2 million, selling them for 20. Nowadays, 1 million in football is not a lot. You saw the numbers.
Yes.
And the prices are going up also because now you have the Middle East competing with the transfer funds, like Saudi Arabia. So now you really need to focus on scouting, and that's how you will try to find the next big thing. It's all about scouting now.
Okay. From Africa, when is I think it's after they need to be 16 and over to bring them to Europe, or 18. So isn't that too late? Because from the age of 13, basically you might lose 5 years of his development.
Yeah. No, you are right. It's kind of plus minus. It's kind of too late, but it's okay. It's too late because we want that kind of player to play organized football with an organized club when we find him. But at the same time, being there a little bit more, that 1 year, 2 year, make him a stronger character and more mature to travel, because I met their culture, I met their mentality. It's not easy for someone just to leave their household and just travel there. And the poverty, where I went to the narrow streets in Africa. I didn't go to the nice places or the normal place. I went on very narrow streets and very dangerous parts. But there is where you find the real players. So those players, you cannot tell them, this is your ticket, go on a play. You need to slowly input the information. You need to educate the player and mentor him just 1 year, 1 year and a half before he makes this step.
Okay. And do you go to any particular countries in Africa?
Yeah, Nigeria and Egypt.
Nigeria, dangerous place.
Yeah, but there are a lot of talent. Egypt, and I have a friend there. We have also
maybe
some football projects together. Mido, the Egyptian legend, they play for Tottenham, and he helped me also.
I remember, he was a really nice player.
Yeah, he have a project called The Maker, and he have free of charge. He brought players, like 100 incubators, and these 100 players, they are educated psychology, nutrition, English language.
Okay.
He wants every player to be educated enough to be able to move abroad, because he did it. But he knows what obstacles were ahead of him.
Yeah.
He didn't know. He saw and experienced the obstacles. These kids, he's preparing them for the next phase of their life. And I saw them. They're very talented. So these two countries are very good.
So maybe you will find the next Mo Salah.
We hope. We hope.
Regarding the Latin American countries like Brazil, for instance, how can you get into that market? Because you know that Portuguese clubs are really, for so many years.
I will tell you straight.
They are the first. They have the first option.
Since I'm Swedish Lebanese, in Brazil we have 10 million plus Lebanese origin people.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Community. Whenever you create a community, you can connect.
Right. Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Latin America have a lot.
Okay. And I know you are very active in the Middle East as well.
Yeah.
So do you think what we have seen recently in Saudi Arabia, it reminds me of when in the States they tried to, introduce football.
Like China also at one point.
Yeah, but it was not slowly. In the beginning, they brought in Pele and I think of Beckenbauer, George Best went there, and it hasn't picked up because they have, all have basketball, they have American football, they have.
I think they have big sports there. They have baseball, they have ice hockey, basketball, American football. So they have a lot of competitive sports.
Exactly.
It's more difficult to break through. Like Saudi, no, they already love football from before. And you saw before they made all these big steps, they were in the World Cup last edition. So when it was in Qatar. So already they have made some steps, but it's easier for them to make an infrastructure as well. USA is very big with many sports. So the population is split. It's like a split opinion on are we fans of this or that. But the most participated youth sport, even USA, is football.
Yes, I've heard that. So you think in Saudi Arabia it's a different type of...
yes, they're trying in a different way. And plus they have the World Cup coming up in some years, which means they will keep building up until the World Cup. And that's like, since they started until the World Cup, that's a gap of 10 years, which means they have 10 years to work.
Yes, I understand that. It's just, okay, if you exclude Ronaldo, we have seen some top European players going there for just 1 year, and then they go back to Europe.
Yes, but it has to start again. Even though it's Saudi, or if it was Spain or Portugal, it has to start with the youth, not seniors.
Yes, this is why I'm asking, because I know you have connections.
I know they started in the youth. They have created a tournament for under 19 that is called Abtal Cup, which is called the Champions Cup. And it has 2 national teams of Saudi Arabia in it. And they go every month and play 2 opponents or 3 opponents, I'm not sure. And you can see PAOK there, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Benfica, Newcastle. So they have created that network through the Saudi Arabian network. And they have started in U19 now to build up.
Okay.
The next phase, I believe after 2 years or even after 1 year, they will start in the grassroots level. When they start grassroots, that's your foundation.
Right. And we have seen with Qatar, they have this top facility with Aspire. They had the World Cup, but you're just wondering, is it going to be a big thing, football now in Qatar?
In Qatar
is a different condition, small country.
It's a small country.
Okay.
But Aspire have made a project, and that project proved to be efficient, especially their scorer. You saw they have one in the national team. In the World Cup, he was good. In the Asia Cup, because people don't monitor too much also Asia Cup from Europe. In the Asian Champions League or Asia Cup, you can also see them competing. Even now, Saudi Arabia, in the Asia Champions League, they won El Hilal, I think, Firmino's team. They won the Champions League. So slowly, you will see always a Saudi Arabian team or a Gulf. We call it Gulf, like Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi. You will see one of these teams always in the semifinals in Champions League of Asia. So that means the sport is growing. But to grow is something, and to be consistent is something else. We hope they will continue on their path.
That's good. Coming back to the Cypriot market and the young footballers, something that we lack apart from the small pool, which has its advantages and disadvantages.
Yes.
Okay, we are a football mad nation.
True.
But do you target specific positions when you are looking at scouting of the?
You don't. When we are.
The reason why I'm asking is is we don't have the physicality. So basically, it's very difficult for Cypriot to establish himself as a center back in one of the top teams.
True. But what we found him young is different.
Goalkeepers now, because you
Height.
need to be,
That's
you
height.
need 2 meters.
You need to check biological age, his parents, his background.
Exactly.
You need to check even defenders. Some positions, yes, we do make the research, a more deep sort of research to find out the background of the family or the family tree and what might be his height. You know, now it's more easier to find out this through doctors. So the thing is, to make him strong, we put him on a program. We help him. Every player we find, even if you're 10 years old or you're 20, every player we find are part of our mentorship program. We mentor them, we advise them, we tell them about the exposure, the marketing, help them what to avoid in the social media, what not to avoid. Also, we...
Sorry to interrupt you, but that's another thing that...
Yeah, I want to go back to this.
That was discussed in that, the seminar, the conference.
Yes.
It was one of the speakers. He was from one big agency, and he was saying that now they don't just arrange for the transfer for the,
we arrange
the
for
players.
everything now.
They arrange for everything, and he mentioned
you need to
that,
manage him.
Yes,
completely.
he said that part of our team, they will have experts in the social media management of the players.
True, because nowadays, whether we like it or not, yes, we don't want the young players to be distracted on social media. Some young players, like 11, 12, 13, 14, their accounts are managed by their parents, which is okay. But each player gets exposure because they attract sponsors and endorsements. My Uruguay player, he signed with Nike. Also, he's very active on social media. So you need to also push, because some kids here might call me, for example, young, not kids anymore, U17, U19. I want can you try to find me sponsorship? I want to have these certain boots. Yes, but if you have one post on social media and you're not very active, these people want something in return. They give you freebies.
They want exposure.
They want exposure. They want you to put their name in the market through your persona. And we try to teach whoever have it and can do it. Also, it has to fit the player's characteristic, because if it's a very shy player, we prefer the parents to manage the account. So we do the marketing, the mentorship, the strength and condition. We try to see if they have something missing. We help them with nutrition. You have to make a whole team to have a chance to become a player.
You have this sports science support team.
Everything, in every country, even inside.
In every country?
Yes, in every country.
Okay.
It's a lot of work, but...
So you monitor everything?
I like.
No, I'm just asking.
No, I like to monitor, but that's the part of the adventure.
Because as you said, this is something that I was using throughout my 20 years in sports. Well, actually, the 15 out of the 20. When part of the evaluation that I was using make all these tests every month.
Yeah.
To monitor their growth. Because we know that you cannot just send the kid to the gym because he wants to, from the age of 12 to, above some weights and stuff like that.
You need to be careful also.
Yeah, exactly. That's why. So
fitness coaches of clubs here sometimes don't want their players to go to gyms because they are not aligned. Outside, if you are aligned with the coach outside, it's better. Like the fitness coach of the club to talk with the fitness coach of the gym. If they speak to each other and there is clear communication, the player benefits. We should not say no for this training or that training or extra training, because Vinicius Jr., when he was dropped by Zidane to the second team, when Zidane was coaching, although Zidane made all the results and everything, Vinicius went down to the second team, sometimes to Castilla, Real Madrid Castilla, the B team. And that day, I remember he was in an interview talking. He hired a personal coach, a fitness coach, a nutritionist, a whole team around him to become better. 1 year after that, First year of Ancelotti, we saw Vinicius as a different player. You need, if the kids or young players are hungry to become something, we need to let them, but in a correct way. I believe no one is wrong or right from the coaches. They all need to communicate with each other to help them.
And in Cyprus is really important because we know that a lot of the clubs, they don't even have gyms.
Yeah.
So this close collaboration with a fitness coach in the gym and the fitness coach of the club, of the academy, for instance, is very important in the talent development process of the player.
Yeah, I saw in Spain on Sundays, youth players from the La Liga clubs were training extra group sessions. Nobody told them to rest because you had a match Saturday or something. Each country have its own philosophy, and we respect it. But Cyprus is not from the top 5 countries. So at least the least we need to try to do is not mimic only. We need to study why are they doing extra and how are they doing the extra. And I, based on my study and research, I found out is the communication channels. That's why I was stressing out on this point. All the coaches are in communication with outside coaches. Even if you are a La Liga youth team coach or Serie youth team coach, they are in contact with an outside coach that is training the player extra. Cruyff said it's not enough to only train from your sessions. It's not the 1 hour and a half you do with your teammates. It's the 5 hours you play extra with the ball alone or with the wall. So the session is not enough to become something. And if you see someone very hungry, you need to let him unleash his potential.
Yes.
Don't hinder himself.
This is something I never understood about football because being, work with individual sports for so many years where they train 3, 4, twice a day, morning sessions.
You have a lot of personal coaches in Cyprus that are good from all the cities.
Yes, yes. This is exactly what I'm saying. Is that when you see a swimmer or a tennis player or in other sports training for 5 hours in total a day, and then you see some young footballers and they just train for 1.5 hours.
That's my point. I preach this. I put an example of a ballet dancer. The ballet dancer makes 4, 5, 6 hours per day on her toes. Too much pressure. It's too harsh, and nobody tells them slowly, take it easy. No, they endure the failure so they can grow.
Yes, Peter, I think is also
culture.
Is a football culture in the sense that a lot of you are an UEFA license.
I used to be UEFA. I haven't renewed it.
Yeah, but you went through the.
Yeah, I went through the coaching. Yes.
Coaching. Okay, so it was one thing that when I was involved with football, the first thing that I had to deal with is that this is football. We are not that disciplined. This, and I said, what is this? Why is this sailor disciplined and goes out on the sea when the winds are really?
Your country created the champion.
Exactly. Why he can do that, and then the footballer, for 1.5 hours is okay, but not 2.5 hours, for instance. And then they go to the other extreme, that the parents, they feel that let's have some private session with this private coach, and the club does not have any control of what this player is doing. Okay, and I don't understand why there is in some instances a resistance from the club coaches to collaborate with,
because they want to know, because maybe, for example, it was a very intensive session in the club today, and he went after and made intensive instead of technique.
Yeah, exactly.
They need to communicate.
Yes, this is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Why they resist sometimes to have a proper communication with coaches outside the club, because we know they have the micro cycles and they have the big cycles.
True.
So the private coach doesn't know what you're doing. Maybe this young kid would say, it was okay today, don't worry. And it was really intense
No, day
training
after
session.
day, he might get injured.
Exactly.
He might. It's okay to skip a personal session, but then he will skip his match, which is not okay.
And you know better than me. Then if you start having muscle injuries from the age of 16, 17, that's it. You lost
the balance. Means you're gonna become injury prone
exactly
for the future.
Exactly.
It's true.
So
that's why you have to be careful from a young age how to build the player based on the load that they have.
Exactly.
You have good fitness coaches in clubs here. You have good personal coaches. You have good coaches. The only thing is the communication, because everyone wants to be in control. And I think this communication is helping. Now you see a lot of players going personal training. It's becoming more flexible now. Clubs and personal coaches and fitness coaches. I see a lot of players going around. So now it's becoming more flexible. But I believe, again, I tell you again, if you want to become a player, training with your teammates 1 session a day, 4 or 5 per week is not enough. You need to have that extra fire to ignite you, you know?
Yes, I agree with you. Another problem that we face in Cyprus is that because of the fierce competition, especially the top clubs, they don't use the Cypriot players. And
I believe a lot in Cypriots.
I believe too. And
you went through the transition of when many Cypriots became players.
And to their credit, they established themselves in a winning championship team. And
they won with them.
Exactly.
They played Europe
in Europe. They played.
They've made what a Cypriot would dream of.
And not only that, I mean, if you see Loizos, for instance, some people, they think that he's 20 years old.
Oh, he's a top player.
Yeah, but he's so young. But because
they
play so many years,
yes.
They think that he's ready to retire or something. This is the thing.
No, he started early and he got the chance. He showed himself and he showed what he can do.
Yeah, but why do you think there is this? You know, they feel the clubs that they feel because they want instant results, they want the money from Europe, that they are afraid to use the Cypriot players. But not to use them, to have an impact.
Also, you need the Cypriot player to help the club. Like the players you've mentioned and the players that went through the system, I watched them when they were younger and in the first team. They were extremely hungry players and they were extremely committed players. If you see all 3-4 profiles of young players you have there, they were very committed at that time and they're still committed. The players here, they want, when they grow older, it's between 16 and 18 where the player starts to lose their balance. It's too much studies, too much this, too much training. You need to find the balance. And this balance is your core. It's very difficult. Not everyone has been mentored or advised. I don't believe that we are agents for young players. We're mentors. This agency is a transaction in first team. Yes, when you make a contract with money, yes, we are your agent, we represent you, we make the transaction, we intermediate the deal or broker the deal. But when you're young, we advise you because the way we advise you is the way you're going to grow up. So they need to be advised when they're younger how to have the elite mentality. These players that you mentioned, they had elite mentality and fire in them since they were very young.
Yes, I agree with you. And of course, the club gave them the opportunity to show their talent because we have different.
You need the platform.
We have different models. Like in Paphos, for instance, we keep hearing from the management of the club that they want to have Cypriot players. They do have facilities. They do have top facilities.
They have top facilities
for the academy. But you see their U19 and maybe one Cypriot player will play.
I think they started on putting pressure on the younger. So in a couple of years, they will have a fully squad of U19.
Think so?
I think so because I saw how they started with the younger ages and they've started to make good impression in younger ages.
Okay, so
and it's good. It's another healthy
team. It's a different type of model.
Yes, different type of models.
Yes.
I am with the more use young players and sell the players. This selling club model. This is what I prefer. And the clubs I help around the world in La Liga or Serie or Portugal, anywhere, it's clubs that like to take young players. It's low risk. They don't cost 2-3 million. They might cost 200,000, 300,000. But you risk it. If he's not good, he didn't cost you that much. It's not a big of a loss. But when you spend 2-3 million on a player and he's 23 years old, not 18, 19, and he doesn't perform well, you lost 3 million plus wages. Young player, he doesn't have big wages and he doesn't have a big transfer.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's just that I thought that maybe Paphos, because it's such a small town, maybe they bring in these young foreign players.
Maybe they are implementing now the young Cypriot players in the city there, because now you see they have the fans start to wake up now. They start to attend the games. They have a bigger fan base now. Now maybe the young Cypriots,
much bigger fan base.
Yes, much bigger. Now maybe the young Cypriots get more excited to join the academies there. And that's when they join,
yes,
you have more chance to find.
I remember when I was young, a lot of footballers from Paphos,
yes,
they used to play for HPO Nicosia.
Yeah, it's a lot of good genetics. They have strong genetics, and Famagusta have strong genetics.
Okay.
So it's regions, it's regions.
Yeah, I understand that. So are you involved in any other projects in Cyprus?
In Cyprus, I am involved in a project that helps bring young non-Europeans to Cyprus to develop here, because still it's a stepping stone. It's a good pit stop for the African and Latin American market to come here. And from here, I expose them straight to the bigger European countries. I use Cyprus as pit stop. But here I can at least monitor them and make them better, develop them. So this project is working well with the Latin Americans and Africa.
Okay. And how are you going to expose them? I mean, if it's a stepping stop, if it's just a pit stop, let's put it this way, then you need to, bring them to some Cypriot clubs and start playing
first
football.
division, second division.
Okay.
I put them in first and second.
Smaller clubs.
Small clubs in in first division, small clubs, and any club in second division, just to see their competition level. Because on individual level, they are always very good, very strong, but you need to see also game intelligence. And that you can only see through a game. There's no training for that, in my opinion. You can see it in only a game.
Yeah, I agree with you. But another thing is the acclimatization to Europe.
Yes.
Because when you mentioned the MITO project, is in the right direction in the fact that, Africa countries are completely different mentality.
Some speak French, some speak this. Also culture and mentality. So they come here 1 year. We try as much as possible to mentor them and to develop them from all aspects, on the field and off the field. And that way we know if they have potential to go to the next step. Okay.
And usually the African players, they go to straight to the top leagues. They go to...
No, if you see a lot of Africans, they have made pit stops around the world in countries that you would never imagine.
Maybe they go to Denmark and then go to the Premier League.
You can find they're going to Albania, to Georgia, to Denmark, to even Latvia, Estonia. Now I think there was a player that won the league in Belgium. He was in Estonia.
All right.
So you need to...
It's an interesting project.
Yeah, you need to always see the small markets. It's about giving the exposure, because if you're a good player, everyone will watch you.
Okay. So you bring them in Cyprus when they get to the age of 18?
Yeah, 18.
And you just,
they have to be 18 to come.
Right. Okay. I'm not sure whether you're allowed to mention this project that you said to me off camera.
No, that I'm not. I cannot announce it now.
Okay.
But already we've made an agreement.
It's not official. It's not.
It's not public yet. Publicly announced yet. But we have made an agreement and we have started the process.
Okay. So you have an MOU in place.
We have made something with some legends.
All right.
Of the game. from Egypt, from Italy, and we're trying to make a nice system.
Right. Me too, from what I have seen a few months ago, he was mentioned about Anorthosis, some collaboration.
Yeah, he was interested. He came here, he saw the country, he liked the country. He liked the climate, sure. Also, Egypt has nice climate, so it's similar. But again, here you're in Europe, and he saw that it's a small country, but so competitive in football. So it was an interesting market. And he believes what I believe, what many foreign agents or scouters or football businessmen believe. Here you can actually do like Aris have done also. They've brought some young players. They're selling outside.
Every year they're selling 1 or 2 players.
Yeah, they have created their own network, their own pathway. So you can do a project here. It's easier to do it and implement it here than implementing it in Spain directly. There you have to work up the ladder to reach to that point. So
and it will be more expensive.
Much more expensive.
Yes, because
much more.
This year we're going to have Eni as well in the first division with a foreign investor. And from what I understand, he has some big plans regarding
everyone
infrastructure.
Wants to do something. So it's healthy for the country that everyone have initiatives, because it becomes more competitive, and it forces other clubs
to become better,
to raise their standard, not to feel in the comfort zone. They raise their standard and they become even better.
Yes. Of course, some big clubs now, they are in financial dire straits, and
I think all these clubs will find a way to survive. To survive and surpass it.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, they have names. All these clubs have history, so I think they will attract
and they have a big support throughout the island. A few years ago it was Omonia, now it's Apoel and Anorthosis.
Yeah, but they have big fan bases, so they will always support their clubs. You saw Anorthosis, the fans help them with the stage.
It's just that now with the budget of Paphos and Aris,
they are on a different game.
Yes.
So the nice thing was that in the cup, you saw Ike won the cup with if you compare the budget with Paphos and Ike, it's a complete different world.
Yes.
Ike have a big budget, but not as big as Paphos.
Money doesn't play football. So
no, football is
not always play football.
Passion.
Yes.
And who wants it more?
Yes. Exactly. I mean, like Man City, they had the money before Guardiola, and
or now I was reading about one player of Inter Milan in the Champions League final against PSG, Paris Saint-Germain. He said the sad thing is Paris Saint-Germain wanted it more than us.
It was quite clear.
Very clear, and they didn't want to stop. You saw PSG didn't want to stop.
So from, when they scored the second goal on the 20th minute, I thought that was it. Forget it. You could see the body language.
Yeah, exactly. The body language.
There was some close-up shots.
And you see that PSG didn't want to stop attacking. So they didn't want to, okay, we scored 2, it's a final, let's hold back, keep the line.
I was expecting, being an Italian team, Inter, usually the Italians, when they get into the final, they
have the passion, aurora. They have the aurora, like they had with Barcelona in the semifinal.
But this year, it was PSG's year.
And PSG is also an example.
You could feel
for the football world.
11 years. It took them 11 years.
PSG's average age is 23.5, 23.6 years old. So between 23 and 24 years old, they changed the whole model. You were always looking at PSG with big stars, big stars. And now you see young stars. We cannot say they're not stars. They won the Champions League. So their average age is 23.6 years old. And that's a young team compared to Inter, that was 28 or 29 years old, the average. So you can see what played more energetic and more fresh legs, won over experience.
Yes. And as we mentioned before, I mean, Liverpool, I'm sure they don't have the biggest budget in the Premier League.
No.
But they
have very good recruitment.
Yeah, but this year they only brought Chiesa, and he was injured most of the
And
time.
he didn't play, true.
So, but you could feel it.
It was something built from before.
But you could feel. Yeah, but they had a new coach, and
True.
you didn't know what to expect. But you could feel it from September onwards that it was going to be their year.
No, you could feel it because the way they operate, they are still as a unit.
Yes.
And now they finished the Premier League, and now they renewed whoever they want to renew, Van Dijk and Mo Salah. But they also start to recruit only positions they actually need.
Yes.
Because you cannot bring players on star positions, then you will have conflict in the locker room.
Definitely. So money doesn't play football.
No.
You need to have a good scouting and sports science support team.
You need to have a whole team around you.
The whole team around you.
You need to be hungry enough.
Give youth a chance.
Always give youth a chance, because for us, we believe in youth, and youth is the future.
Peter, thank you very much. And I know you are busy, and we managed to do it in a short period of time.
Yeah, most probably I'm traveling tomorrow, so...
Hope to speak again soon.
Yes, thank you very much for having me again. And let's hope it's not going to be another 3 years for us to meet again.
You've been busy, I've been busy.
Yes,
but
football world.
let's try and do it in a few months' time.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much.
Thank you.